and welcome to the new setup. Hello everybody, I'm Mark from Overlanding Forward and welcome back to the channel. And welcome to the new setup. So I'd like to say that I'm actually wild camping in Powys, Wales, which is technically true. However, I'm at the bottom of my mother's garden. Now, there's a massive field over there where I got stuck the last time I was here. But this time I'm now on more of a firmer base. The field down there has dried out. I actually think I can drive on it, but I decided I'll stay down here. So I'm actually at the bottom of a garden and the house is way, way, way in the distance. So technically I'm wild camping. Now, why this setup? So those of you that are new to the channel that have seen Defender videos or even the L322 zipping around Spain, etc., saw the iCamper Skycamp Mini on the top of the roof. Well, at the end of sort of the last trip I did in October, I came back and decided, you know what, I need to get rid of my rooftop tent. Now, I know there's a whole bunch of people that sort of said, you're crazy, or go buy another one. Well, actually, you know what? I'll give you my rationale for doing it. It's more to do with, number one, weight savings off the roof of that car. And number two was, because my setup in the L322 is at the back of the vehicle as opposed to the Defender, which was underneath a gull wing, I could actually shelter underneath where the rooftop tent opened and still cook and do things like that underneath where my rooftop tent opened up on the Defender. This can't do that. So everything, as you've seen from the back of the setup, and I'll show you. So as you can see, everything is at the back here. Kitchen, fridge, access to cutlery, everything is in the back. And a couple of times when I've been away, because I'm out the back, although this is a big tailgate, unfortunately, when this kitchen is pulled all the way out, you get wet when it rains. And when we did the Vuelta a España in September, I don't know how this happened. In the 2 weeks prior to the guys showing up, I never saw a drop of rain. The day they showed up, there was a massive thunderstorm and we got rained out. And for the following 3 or 4 nights, we got rained out too. It did improve, but we got wet. And so what would happen is during the day, we'll be fine. We'd rock up at 6 o'clock, get something to cook, pull everything out, it would start raining. And so I sort of came back from there and reevaluated all of this and came to the conclusion that I'll ditch the rooftop tent, number one, for weight saving gain off the roof for the L322. And number two, look at something like an Oz tent to give me more of a tarp out the back of the vehicle. Primarily that if it does rain or there's inclement weather, I could get a tarp or a tent up really quickly. Quickly, not as quick as a rooftop tent, obviously, because I managed to get that iCamper Skycamp Mini up in less than a minute. Got it so good, down in 2. So switching over to this is a NatureHike gabled end car tarp. I will put a link in the description. Number one, where I got it, and number two, what this thing is. I actually like it. There's a channel that I think I referenced before called Go 4x4. And this guy he's got millions of subscribers now. He basically takes his Jeep and a lot of kit that he's got. He heads out into the backcountry near Brisbane, Australia, sets up some videos, does some recording. Well, he's got one of these. And the first time I saw it, I thought, this is perfect. So I sort of had my heart set on going down an Oz tent RV3. But once I saw his videos and figured out he managed to get a tarp this size up, I changed my mind. And so I bought one of these. I got it off AliExpress. It was about 125 quid. Don't go get it off their website. It's almost 300 quid. Get it off AliExpress. Again, link in the description. And for those of you that think AliExpress takes months to get here, this, when I ordered it, arrived 9 days after I put the order in. So pretty good. Anyway, so I've been under this before the last time I was down here when I got this thing stuck. But I actually like it. It's got a lot of shade. Now, I don't know how much coverage I've got under here, but it's all the way to the back where the L322 is. And again, I'll show you. And the way that is idea is there is a pole here, and there's a pole there, and there's one down there. And so what you do is you set up the tarp, and then you drive your car back into this cover tarp area. There is in the middle, I've actually got it I've got a bungee cord that will attach to the spare wheel that is on my roof to keep it sort of in straight. So today's been quite hot. It's been 23 degrees, which is why I've got my solar blanket out. I've been charging up my auxiliary battery. Figured why not? It's free power. And under here it didn't actually get hot. I've seen a few other reviews of this where people have said that it's a too light a color, and the idea about having a tarp is reflects. Well, I was under here in 22, 23 degree heat. It really wasn't that bad. It definitely sheltered you from the sun's rays. So I don't think it's a big concern. And with a much, it is breezy, it's not windy under here. You're shading yourself from the sun. There's plenty of breeze and it's nice and cool under here. So I really like this. I've managed to perfect getting this thing set up in about 10 minutes now. And if you look at some of the videos routing around on the channel, you can see me putting this up. I have an Oz10 RV3 floor saver, and I bought this when I thought I was going down the RV3 tent route. I might still go back to it, but at this point, I'm pretty happy with what I've got. So I have that as a tarp. I've laid this out, and then today I've got my swag. This is an ARB Touring single Skydome swag. I had a double many years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago. And when I lived in Australia for about 6 months, way back at the turn of 2000, a bunch of guys put me in a Burke and Wheel swag. That thing was brilliant. It was really heavy duty, but it was really claustrophobic. This one I love because both this one and the double one I had as the Series 2, so the bottom part here and the top part can stay open. And there's ventilation on all 4 sides, at the foot, at the head, either sides, and also down here as well. So I really love these things, and they pack up quite small, being the fact you've got all your bedding in there. So things like your mattresses in there, you could store pillows in there. You just need to sort of sit on it and fold it up and get it into its bag, which I have, which goes on the roof. So anyway, I'm in my swag tonight, but it's a nice evening. It's not going to get too chilly, and I think it'll be fine in it. So with the tarp, a couple of things. When it comes, none of the guide ropes are attached, so you have to go back and reattach them. There's a double guide rope on the 2 poles over there, and there's a single here. And where the gabled ends is, I've just basically pegged it down, which is why you can see it sort of shooting down that way. So underneath here, it's pretty comfortable. All of the poles I've changed. So these are from Drifter. They're lightweight alloy twist poles. The poles that came with this, they're really heavy and cumbersome. And as I'm on this weight saving mission, I didn't want to start lugging really heavy poles, and I think they're steel. And I also didn't like the way they sort of clamped together. So all this gets put in its bags and sits in one of my pelly boxes where all my camping gear is. This is a Helinox chair. This is a Savannah chair. This is unbelievably comfortable. I've also got the headrest. They actually sent me the headrest. It's a pump up headrest, but this is really light and really comfortable. So I did have a pair of Oz10 King coated chairs. Now they're comfortable and they are robust, but they're big, they're bulky, and they're heavy. So those are sitting in my storage unit. We've now got a pair of Helinox chairs. I've got this one for me, and the Duchess has got one which is actually red. Yes, I know. It's got blue, but we'll deal with that. But these are really comfortable, unbelievably lightweight, and you can get these things sort of set up quite quickly in minutes. It has all got shop cord in it. The frame itself is really, really light. And then you can change the feet over. You can put bags on them. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And I've actually got one of the sunshades that goes at the back. So if you want to take this to the beach, It's got a sunshade that goes over the top to protect you as well, so you don't need to lug umbrellas around. And again, all of this stuff is just unbelievably light. I have my solar blanket plugged in. It's a 160 watt solar blanket. I've had it, I don't know, about 5 years now. I guess I bought it when I had the Defender. And for a long period of time before I had my rooftop tent on the Defender, I used to just strap it down there when I was parked up. It's kicked out a huge amount of power today. It's pretty much topped up my battery and just kept it sitting there on absorption mode all afternoon. The sun has gone in, it's got a bit cloudy, but it's still actually kicking in some watts, which is great. Now, one thing I want to show you is I have this thing from PowerTech. And those of you who are into your solar, so this is a device that monitors what goes on from your source into your output. So you can clearly see it's still cranking something in there, not a lot. So you can test your solar input into whatever it's being charged. And because this goes into my BMS on my Red Vision system, which is there, and the BMS is hidden behind that box, I can keep track of charging up my lithium battery. So here's the other Helinox chair I've got. There's a Helinox table. All of that is covered in here. And you can see I've started to sort of make some changes on where everything goes in here. My water system is in. I've tested it. All works. I've got piping hot water on demand. The DFG off-road shower curtain, privacy curtain if you will, is in. I put that in the other day, and I've actually tested this out, run the shower hose. I'll run this tomorrow morning, and I'll record a video so you can see it, of where I've done it. Now, because I've got lights on the side, this is about the only place it can go. But the shower curtain opens up, and the idea is, because I've got my connections for the shower hose head inside there behind that seat, then you will just plug it in, drop that window, shower head comes up, and you can have a shower. But I've tested it out. I get 38-degree hot water out of that water tank. So there's enough to have a really good hot shower. So this is the setup. As you can see, it's actually quite large, considering I've got this really taped tarp at the back. It goes all the way to the bottom. And then my tent can go down here. I do have a NatureHike octagonal TP tent. And when the Duchess and I hit the Baltic States, we're going to do a couple of nights of wild camping, because that's not big enough for 2 people. What we're going to do is put the TP tent basically where that pole is. And then the TP tent should be able to plug into the top of that, and then I can just strap it all down and then figure out how I make the TP tent fit into there. And the great thing about Estonia and Latvia, you have the right to roam, which means you can wild camp. And you're not going to get any Karens go running around telling you to get off their land. So as you can see, it's all hooked up. Didn't take long. So start to finish, rock up, drop the swag, put the tarp up, put the tarp under the bottom, or the floor saver. I can get that thing put together in probably about 5 minutes. And what I generally do, this is one of the biggest complaints from these swag tents, is that there are 5 poles. Well, what I do is I leave these poles in. So while they go through these hoops, I leave these poles in. I just disconnect them, and I'll show you what it looks like when I fold them away. And I just take out the 2, this one, and put them in the bag, and the rest of the poles stay in, and then I fold everything up. Now, swags are Australian, and it dates way, way back to basically a single plate thing that you can roll your sleeping gear up, and it really became a bivouac or something like a bivvy sack. But clearly they've moved on from, 50, 60 years ago, when you've got ranchers riding around outback Australia jumping into their swags. Why this one? Well, a lot of them. So why the ARB? Well, first of all, there are a lot of these on the market. And this one, I like the ventilation on the tops, on the sides, on the back. I've been in some of these in Australia, and ventilation is key, because if they're small, you do kick up a lot of heat in these things, and they begin to have a huge amount of condensation. So the one thing I like about this is you can open the head end, which is down here, and you can open the foot end. So the foot end, real simple. Now the downside to this is you can't open this end, but you can actually put this flap out. You can tie it down if you need to, but there's ventilation coming in from the foot end. And so what I normally do is I just put that in there, and you get some breeze coming through where your feet are at the bottom of your sleeping bag. But this vent at this end will not, you can't unzip it. Now on the top, this opens up. So this is zipped in as well. So if it gets really hot, you can actually open this up and get a nice breeze coming through. Now I had this on the double as well, and I love this thing. There was the Series 2 double that had this, but this has got this really nice Miji mesh on it. And then you can also roll it down if you want to just keep it covered up. There's only one way to get in the single swag, which is through this side. And again, you can see the Miji mesh inside of here. The zips, like anything you can get from ARB, excellent quality zips. And you can see there's quite a bit of room inside. Now the thing about swags is they can get quite claustrophobic. The double was no problem because it had plenty of space. This one I find we'll see how this one goes, but there's plenty of room in here to get one person in. I mean, you have to be a big dude to fill this space up inside of here. So this also comes out as well. There is another panel on this side that opens up. So it's sort of like the other side. And you can see down there. At the head end, there's a vent at this end. There's a flap here as well. So like a lot of these tents, you have toggles. You can flick the toggle, close that up if it gets too inclement. You can zip this out as well. So you can zip in exactly the same on the double, had exactly the same thing, and they're in on the back end of here. And on the head end, if you are a hat person, there's actually an Akuba holder. And so those of you that wear hats, there's a really good place to store your hat at the end of this as well. There are plenty of pockets, keys, phone. One thing I really love is in the double, I had this as well, and this allows you to hang a lamp. So it's got some Velcro on here as well, but you can also hook up an LED lamp on the top of here. Now, as you can see, it opens not just halfway, it's probably just a little bit over halfway, and then this opens up on this side as well. Now the great thing with swags is you don't have to carry a mattress. Now this is a memory foam mattress. This is about a 3-inch thick mattress. It is really comfortable. The double and the single share the same mattress. It's obviously just size, but this is an unbelievable mattress. It's very, very comfortable. And I would admit that some of the best night's sleeps I had were in my double swag. Unbelievable comfortable. You don't need to add anything to this, even if you're a side sleeper like I am. More pockets on the side. So there are huge amounts of pockets up here, which is always great when you clamber into one of these things to hide keys, change, wallet, phone, all that sort of crap. All can go in here. So I love the fact there is plenty of pockets in here. Now I'd imagine the Aussies use this more than we do, but you never know when you're in a hot climate. This is the thing that I love about this swag, is that you can close yourself up and then you have a clear view out the swag to the outside sky. And if you have just the meshes in, the amount of ventilation you would get through here would be phenomenal. But I love these things, these are great. And there are a lot of people that have bought these and have put them on eBay and have never used them. And the double that I bought came off eBay as well, unused, and I think I bought it for about £400 with a bag. This one, never used, 300 quid with a bag, and the bags themselves are £125. So if you want one of these things, go and have a look on eBay. especially at the end of the season as well, when people bought them, never used them and got rid of them. So there you go, there's the setup. I'm going to grab some dinner. I'm not eating out of the back of this thing today, although today is a Friday before the bank holiday, and then I will be out of here Wednesday next week, heading to Germany to do the German Land Rover Club. So I'm sort of semi-packed, but I don't have any food or anything in here. My water tank is full, and what I will do is I will then start loading up all the food and everything into the vehicle, top up my water tank, get the fridge fired up, put everything in that after I do a food shop, and I am out of here. Oh, one other thing that I've done. So when I put this in place, this, those of you familiar with an L322, there's a plastic piece that sort of fits on here. It's more a trim piece that covers where the load space comes over. Well, when this went in, I was about 2 mil out. And so I had two choices. Take this plastic piece out or cut it. So I took it out. It's sitting away in a lockup somewhere. And then I just put tape over here to cover it. And this allows me to close this right up against here. One thing I've got this light strip here, which is, I think it came from Drifter, but I put this in. And it's also, it came from Drifter, it's magnetic, although I put a couple of zip ties on the holes of where the plastic went. And then I have this running through a cable down through here, and then it goes to a 12-volt connection around the back. And that's hooked directly into the battery. And the thing I love about this is I'm a big fan of amber. And if you're familiar with bugs and everything, bugs don't go near amber, they go near white light. So I have this, and I can do both of them as well. But when it gets dark later on this evening, I'll fire this one up, this one, and then I'll fire that one up as well. And you can see how much light. And as I mentioned before many times, all of my accessories come off my lithium battery. Virtually nothing that I've added. In fact, besides the headlights or the spotlights, they're the only things that touch my start battery. Everything else is routed back to that. And yes, there are a lot of cables in there and I need to clean them up before we go. But this is where my solar blanket fits in here. So anyway, that's the back of the L322. It's dinner time. I'll be back later. So thanks very much for watching. I hope this has been of interest to you. Please, if you like the video, like the video. Don't forget to click and subscribe. Really helps the channel grow. And with that, I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.